It's Training Tuesday time. We are here for Training Tuesday. I am checking my video feed to make sure my tech is working. So do me a favor as y'all pop in, say hi, let me know my feed is working. Um, when I did this a couple of weeks ago, my whole setup looked like it was working, and I only had a couple people pop in, and they even said hi. And so I thought things were working okay. I thought things were working okay, even though it wasn't my normal crowd. So the folks who found me last time, I don't know how you found me, but thank you. And then last week, my tech didn't work because I had canceled it, and all the messages I had set up to cancel Training Tuesday ended up not also going out. So I've had a bit of a tech snafu the last few weeks. And Jackie, you're here. You were the one who found me though on the last time 2 weeks ago, and you were the only one who found me. And I don't know how or why that happened. Because then I could not go back and find the recording, and nobody else found me either. So that was sad. So I am going to re-record the training that I did 2 weeks ago for the exclusive audience of Jackie. Yay, Joyce is here. See, other people are finding me. This is good. I I don't know I literally checked all my profiles for videos, and I just don't know what happened, but Jackie was on it, so thank you. I am going to re-record the training that I did do for Jackie, for the audience of Jackie last time, so that everybody gets access to that one as well, because that one was about resilience, and resilience is actually a little bit tied to the topic we're going to talk about tonight. So it'd be good for you guys to have that training. So I'll make that available for all of you. I did not get it done in the last 2 weeks since I did that initial live training, simply because I've been traveling and my schedule has been all off. So um, we're getting back on a normal schedule again. It's good to be back. It's good to see you guys here. So welcome, Joyce. Welcome, Jackie. Anybody else who's joining, as I said, say hi in the chat. It's good to see you guys. It's nice to be home, actually, and back on a schedule. I had a very fun time traveling, but it was also exhausting. I think for those of you who travel, you know that the photos always look very glamorous and amazing. And I'm not going to take away from the fact that I had a great trip, and it was amazing. It was not glamorous, but it was amazing. And I'm always appreciative of that when I can travel. But I am also always so appreciative of coming home, being in my own space again, getting reacquainted with my dog again, little things like that. Which is what brings me to plot twists and power moves, thriving through life's unexpected turns. As I just mentioned, even with tech, I had a few unexpected turns lately. But also, we're coming up into the holiday season, and that always seems to be the place where we run into the plot twists. So I want to invite you to drop in the chat for me in a few words. How do you cope? How do you cope with an unexpected plot twist, with a surprise, with something that you weren't expecting that happens and it derails the original plan? Because that's the thing with plot twists. Plot twists suggest that there was a way we were going, there was a path, there was a plan, and then boom, plot twist, something happens, and now the plan doesn't work anymore. So, how do you normally respond to that? Do you become very anxious and stressed? Do you panic? Do you get angry? Right? What's your initial reaction? Do you freeze? What is it? Fight, flight, or freeze? Right? Do one of those fall into your category? But how do you respond initially when there's a plot twist? And I'm asking you to drop it in the comments, not to judge. This is not about, we don't do that here. This is a safe space. We do not judge. But because when we know what our response is, when we have the awareness around what our response is, we then can much more easily figure out what we're going to do next, how we're going to respond next. Like, I have two reactions because it all depends on what exactly the plot twist is. If the plot twist is something where something happens and I feel like it's unjust, it's unfair, or like I'm being attacked, My response is anger. I get angry. I have a very, very high temper around that. If it's more of a if it's more of a something unexpected and there's not injustice in it, it's just something has happened that is out of my control and it sent all my plans sideways. I have noticed that I tend to not react. And I take this as really, really good training from my father, is what it is. I do pretty well. I don't panic. I don't explode. I very rarely have an explosive reaction to things. Um, I grew up with a father who had a very hot temper, who also was very good at not reacting to that temper, not letting that trigger the next words out of his mouth. And it did sometimes. Like, there was not 100% success rate there. Um, but I was very aware that my father had a hot temper and that pretty much most of the time it was very well under. Certainly nobody outside the family and outside the house thought this was a man with a hot temper, that this was a man with any volatility. And it was because he literally actively practiced maintaining his cool, breathing through the moment, and figuring out what the next best option was. And so from an early age, I had really good training like that. Really good training around take a breath. Your explosive rage may not be the best response, may not be the best way to respond in that moment. Um, and it allows me then to look at those surprises and determine for a moment, are they good or, not even are they good or bad surprises, but literally just where can I go from here? So I'm very grateful actually for that training from my father, but I do have his same temper and have noticed the one area where it doesn't get controlled is when I feel righteous. When I feel like, damn it, that should have gone another way and here's why, and there's an underdog. Like if it's competitive or there's an underdog, I'm all in that. So Jackie says she gets stressed, but also try to get the facts before freaking out. Working on it. It's an active practice, right? When controlling that initial triggered response, it's an active practice. Joyce, I try to stop and look at the situation to figure out what can be done after I call my anxiety attack. Yeah, so having that anxiety is not uncommon, and it's not irrational either, right? When things go sideways, it is because something is happening outside of our expectation, right? Outside of our norm. I was just telling a coworker this week. I used to do this thing. I thought it was the coolest thing. I thought it made me cool mom, which is when my kids were in middle school and high school. I had 3 of them now, and so they spanned middle school and high school. Um, I would wake up on a random Tuesday and say, surprise, you're not going to school today. And instead, I'm going to take you on a surprise adventure. And they would not know where we were going or what we were doing until we got there. And I did this once every 3 months or so. I thought it was cool. I had a good time. Probably the 3rd or 4th time that I did this, the 3 of them, literally the 3 of them, sat me down and said, you can't do this anymore. You cannot pull us out of school for your surprise days anymore. And I was like, you're joking, right? And they each had slightly different reasons, like details as to why this was a bad thing. But the net of it was I was stressing them out. That when I pulled my surprise day, any plan that they had wrapped their heads around for how they were going to get through the school day were out the window. And the day was out of their control because they didn't know where we were going and they didn't know what we were doing. And I was like, but guys, when has a surprise day ever been bad? When have I ever taken you somewhere or we've done something where you were like, I would have rather been in math class? Never. Never. But that still didn't make up for the fact that loss of control, that spike of anxiety of, oh, holy cow, my whole day just got shot, right? Everything I planned in my head to make myself comfortable and to get through the day just went out the window. All that stuff could not be tempered by the fact that we would go do really cool things. We would drive a couple hours to, like we were living in Naples, we drove to Miami, we did an escape room and we went to the beach. I took them for a live action role playing event where we literally wandered a city pretending to be part of the mafia. I've taken it to a lot of things, a lot of different things. And the joy and the fun of Surprise Day never outweighed the panic that would ensue when they realized they had lost control of their day. So I stopped it. I actually did keep doing surprise days. I just didn't surprise them anymore. I literally would say next Tuesday. Well, I have surprised them. I would say next Tuesday is going to be a surprise day. Is that good with everybody's schedule? And everybody would check their schedule. And if I got the green light, I would say we're going to do a fun activity. And I still wouldn't tell them what. Like for me, I wanted some of that surprise element. It was more for me than for them, clearly, because they didn't love the surprises, but we all had a good day. Anyway, that's a long way of saying plot twists happen, sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for not. And we react in all kinds of different ways. And a plot twist could be something as simple as my surprise day. Something as simple as you wake up in the morning and you realize you're out of coffee or you're out of coffee filters. And now the morning cup of coffee, it's not the same, right? It can be as simple as the bus or the train that you're taking to work or that you're going somewhere on has been delayed. I had the pleasure just last week of being in Paris, and was taking a train from the train station. From the train station, I was taking the train to my office. And in Paris on the metro, the sign lights up. There are little lights for all the stations it's going to stop at. So I looked at the train, and there were 5 lights, and my light was light number 3. It was all lit up, so I knew that's where the train was going. I get on the train. I'm 2 stops in, and the light goes out. I'm literally mid-ride when that Paris train decided not stopping at my office stop anymore. It's just going to bypass it and go somewhere else. Plot twist. So I have to get off the train, and then I have to go find another train that's actually going to take me to the office. And I had a meeting arranged, so I had to text the person and say, unavoidable train delay. I'm going to be, it looks like 20 minutes late. Not really sure. Welcome to trains, right? So what is your reaction? Jackie and Joyce, thank you both for sharing when these things happen. Those are simple plot twists. Some plot twists are really significant. You get fired or laid off. Somebody close to you gets sick. You have to take days off because your kids are sick. A break-in, you lose your wallet, someone you love dies. Like there are some major plot twists that are actually life-changing, and they do make a big difference, right? How we respond makes a difference. The net of this though is what's in our control. So how many of you are big planners? You plan your day, you plan how you spend your time, you make spreadsheets of things that have to get done and by when. You have spreadsheets of spreadsheets. I actually know somebody, I have a very dear friend, and she was telling me that when she moved in particular, she was moving to different countries, she had spreadsheets that linked to her spreadsheets of things she had to do to manage her move. She was a planner. So how many of you guys are actual planners? I'm a semi-planner. I'm a lister. I don't do spreadsheets, I do lists. I like to cross things off my list. It makes me feel productive. But I do a fair amount of fly by the seat of your pants. I do. I do a fair amount of, I'm going to be taken by surprise at some point, so let's be taken by surprise. And as we know, life is full of surprises, good and bad. But let's remember, and this is what I want to get to as we talk about dealing with plot twists and turning a plot twist into a power move. Our energy, the way that we approach a situation, it's not just impacting how we respond to the situation, it's impacting the people around us. When we respond with high levels of anxiety and stress, when we respond with explosive anger or distress, either one, our energy and our mood and our approach impacts the sense of peace and well-being for ourselves as well as for everyone around us. Everyone around us. So I want to talk about the moves we make, what we need to do in order to manage the plot twists and turn them into actual power moves, turn them into something that work for us rather than against us, and that give us opportunities to be in control of our energy. We can't control anything else. I can't control the train being late, but I can control how stressed I'm going to be about that. I can't control the fact that my kids don't like surprises. I can control what I'm going to do in response to that. So, key number one, when it comes to managing a plot twist and turning it into a power move, key number one is what you do in the moment. In the moment when the plot twist happens, when something goes sideways, right, is accept it. Accept the unpredictable. Life is dynamic. It's not static. It's going to happen. Stuff is going to happen. So step one is a mindset practice. Accepting the unpredictable is a mindset practice. Has nothing to do with what's happening around you. Has nothing to do with how well you planned or you didn't plan. Typically, our head goes into panic mode and into, oh God, why me? Why me? Why can't I get a break? Why did this happen? We go right into victim mode. That is a mindset, and that is energy. And the longer we stay in victim mode, the harder it is to climb out and deal with the situation. We can deal with the situation even while we're a little bit in our victim mode, but then the energy that we're dealing with that situation is infecting, right? It infects the people around us. So when you feel that, oh, why me? Oh, I just can't get a break. Why did this have to happen? Who's responsible for this, right? Whether you veer towards the stress and the anxiety or the anger, give yourself a moment, and then you got to shake up your energy. Whether that is a mantra, it's all going to be okay, it's out of my control. It's all going to be okay, it's out of my control. Whatever your mantra is, whether it's a mantra, whether it's you do a yoga stretch, whether you do a dance, you listen to a song, something to shake the energy, to put you into a more powerful place of dealing with what's next. The surprise is inevitable. What you do about it is not. Now, I do want you to take that moment of that surprise energy, right? That surprise negative, ugh. And it's okay to feel that, because I'm not talking about toxic positivity, right? Not every plot twist is going to work to your advantage. They're not all going to be good. And we need negative emotions. We as humans do not live in a state of happiness. It is not 100% attainable 100% of the time. We are wired, right, for the roller coaster of positive and negative emotions. So we need them. Negative emotions serve a purpose. They keep us aware, they keep us vigilant, they keep us engaged, actually. Negative emotions keep us engaged in what's going on. They're part of our survival skills. So our mission is to learn to live with all of our emotions. But in a moment when you are dealing with a plot twist, give yourself that breath to feel that negative emotion, whatever it is, and then give yourself another breath to say, I'm going to give myself the best possible mindset to deal with this, which means I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to remind myself that it is not in my control, and I'm going to figure out the next best plan. Your attitude is everything, and it's your responsibility. It is your responsibility to look for the silver lining, to look for the shakeup might be just what I need to get to a better place. Sometimes we need a shakeup. I mean, and those, I say it that way because those are cliches, and I know we hate that. But it is our responsibility to understand that, yes, this may be a really crappy moment in a really bad situation. And maybe I needed this really bad situation to make a change in my life. Maybe I needed the push. because maybe my ambition and my motivation weren't going to wake up until I was forced to. Maybe, maybe not. Your attitude, the energy that you choose to bring to whatever the plot twist is going to dictate how you get through it. So the first part of this mindset is being considerate of how your energy is impacting others around you as you navigate the plot twist. And the other part of your responsibility is being aware of the impact on yourself as you navigate a plot twist. The energy and attitude you bring impacts both. So if you can accept the unpredictable, just accept it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to get into a bit of a funk for a moment, but I can't control it. So I'm just going to accept that this is how life rolls. And then 2, accept that I'm accountable for my own energy. I am responsible for the energy and the attitude I bring into the situation. And 3, in the moment, these are all in the moment, take a breath. Take the breath. It's life. Even in the worst case scenarios, even when we have someone we love who's diagnosed with cancer, even when we have someone close to us who's passed, even if we've lost our job, the worst case scenarios, their impact, their emotional impact, the intensity, let me reframe that, the intensity of the emotional impact is temporary. The intensity is temporary. The impact itself may never go away, may never change. But the impact is temporary, and if we can remember that, and this is part of our resilience training, so I will get that training recorded for you and share it, but if we can get through those hard moments, we can get to the other side, where then our energy and our attitude are how we manage the situation. So it is incumbent upon us to take the breath, to be conscious of what's happening with us in that moment. Because rarely are you going to find a moment where panic and outbursts are helpful. It might be how we want to respond. It might be a way that we feel like we need to relieve the stress, but it's not often going to be helpful in the moment. And I don't want to downplay the fact that sometimes these plot twists are serious. So for those of you who've been following me for a while and who know me personally, you know November 20th, which was yesterday, is an incredibly difficult day for me personally. And I can say over time, it's still a difficult day. It gets easier to manage. It gets less intense to manage. And the nutshell is that at this stage, 11 years ago, on the 20th of November, my brother passed away. He had colon cancer. And exactly 6 years later, on November 20th, my Dirty Girls business partner, and who was also my best friend, Shirley Ramos, passed away from breast cancer and melanoma. So I had 2 people extremely close to me die on the same day, 6 years apart. So I kind of hate. If you've listened to my earlier trainings on gratitude and how I hate the start of gratitude season. I hate the fact that the start of gratitude season starts with the death of 2 people who I love dearly. And I still have moments, because that's how grief works, right? Where it spikes and it shows up at unexpected times, and there's an anniversary date to it. But even those intense emotions and those intense moments, temporary emotional impact. The grief never goes away. The emotional impact of the grief comes in waves, right? It comes and goes. These are the things we have to remember when we're dealing with plot twists. There's always something different that's going to happen next. We are going to feel differently as we move forward. But the plot twist, we have no control over that. None. Now, those were the 3 things I wanted you to consider in the moment. In the moment a plot twist happens, accept the unpredictable. Remember, your attitude is your responsibility, and breathe. Breathe. But there are 2 critical skills that will help you in developing the flexibility as we go forward. so that as these plot twists happen, we are better practiced and better able to have that flexibility and to truly move forward with power, right? To turn those plot twist moments into power moves. And Sue, thank you. Thank you very much for that. That's very nice. I have good energy. I have a lot more peace around the date of November 20th than I used to. I used to be very angry. I used to rage a lot about it. Now I try not to turn the date into such a big deal. It's still a marker. I still feel it during the day. I don't reach out to other people as much as I used to, and I don't post on social media like I used to so much around it. It's not to say I won't in the future on that date, but I want to celebrate so much more what those two people meant to me and the impact they had on my life rather than just the day they died. So it's so that's why I don't always post. If you look at back into the Dirty Girls files, you will see historically I post pretty regularly on that day. Okay. So, the skills for practicing flexibility in advance of your plot twisting moment. One is one is really simple and actually can be fun. You make a practice of doing something different. You make a practice of oh, I'm sorry, there were more comments here and I didn't see them. Plans are a starting point, Joyce. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm stopping my comments here as I just saw these other ones. And actually that's a great one. Plans are a starting point, and I agree with that. And always having a framework and always having a direction you're going with. Complete fan of having a North Star, having a plan. I love plans even. It's the mindset that says just remember when something goes sideways or something happens unexpectedly that you can build the flexibility. And you're right, Joyce, if you have the plan, it can sometimes be easier to course correct or to pivot. Good time to schedule screen. Yeah, there's the reminder, right? Everybody, all the ladies, get your boobs checked, right? Get checked for all the things. Do it every year. It is important. Okay, sorry. Back to my regularly scheduled program. 2 things you can do. 1, practice different things. Literally practice different. And different in the way of if you get your mind used to things that are habitually that you do every day, doing them a different way now and then, you shake yourself up a little and you go, this is okay. You get used to the idea that different is okay. Different can be as little as ordering something different off the menu of your favorite restaurant. Every time I go to a certain Chinese restaurant, I get dumplings and I get egg foo young. So maybe the next time I shake it up and I order something different. Go with the beef and broccoli, the Szechuan pork. I don't know. Take a different. If you're for those of you still going to work, you take a different route to work. You drive a different way. You walk a different way. You take a different bus or train if that's possible. It's literally the exercise. They used to make you do this exercise in management trainings. I don't know if they still do this, but what they used to make us do was your watch. Put your watch on your other wrist. And it literally was to practice the art of shaking your brain up and doing something different. Like this was a form of kind of brainstorming, stepping out of the box thinking. But even something as simple as switching your watch to a different wrist is doing something different. Have tea instead of coffee. Listen to a different radio station in the morning. Play different types of music than you normally listen to. When you make a habit of trying different things, you start flexing those muscles of different. And that way, when your plan is derailed, not quite so shocking. And you feel like you've built that resilience muscle. So that's one. Go ahead before anything derails and start doing little things a little bit differently. See how it feels. See what you get accustomed to and then do it different again. The second one is a little more complex, but I think it's super important. Undoubtedly, you're in this group, which means you're exposed to all sorts of great sort of self-help. It means you've done readings, you're very aware. So you've probably heard the phrase, and you've certainly heard me say it if you've been with me for a while, right? Detachment. We detach from criticism. We detach from praise. Part of that practice is detaching from the emotion we attach to things. Detachment is a Buddhist practice, but it's really misunderstood. A lot of the times we think detachment means I don't feel something. I don't think something. I don't care anymore. I'm detached. And that's not at all what it means. This is a practice that helps you move forward, even when there's drama swirling around you, even when it helps you. It helps you remove yourself a little bit from the drama and the emotional patterns that don't help you. You step into the role of an observer. So you do care and you do feel something that hurts. It still hurts. It still hurts. What it means is that you realize the hurt is temporary. It means that you realize the hurt doesn't have to control your reaction. This is what we mean by detachment. So when you practice actively the art of detachment, you are practicing a few tenets. You are practicing the understanding that it's not personal. Life is not out to get you. The cancer wasn't personal. The car accident wasn't personal. Getting laid off, you guys have heard me talk about this before, often 99% of the times, getting laid off, it's not personal, and it's not related to your skills, by the way. It's not personal. Life is not singling you out for plot twists. Second tenet of practicing detachment is the acknowledgement that you don't have control. There's very little in this life that you actually have control over. And the moment we can accept that, or I should say the ongoing practice of accepting that, actually brings us a little bit of peace, and it makes it easier for us to take a breath and pivot when we need to. We do not have control. Third tenet is an open mind. Keeping your mind open to the alternatives that are available for you. So maybe losing your job wasn't high on your list. And maybe exploring other new jobs was also not high on your list. But now that you have the opportunity, should you try a different industry? Should you consider going back to school? Should you dive back into your network and revive some old relationships? Keep your mind open to the different alternatives that are available. 4 is letting go of how things used to be. Familiar patterns, familiar habits, and behaviors are comforting. It's why we cling to them. But when we have these familiar habits and patterns, when things change, because we're attached to that feeling of comfort, when things change, we suddenly get very uncomfortable. When our morning routine, think about what the story I told you about my kids, when their routine was disrupted, they were very uncomfortable. These old patterns make us afraid of change. And we have to remember that the feeling of discomfort, the feeling of I don't like this, the feeling of oh my God, it's all falling apart, those feelings pass. They pass. If we can step back from the feeling and identify the trigger, oh, I'm feeling this way because there was a change and I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm feeling this way because I'm realizing that this isn't going to go the way I planned. So this is where we step back. We become an observer. It's not that we deny the feeling, and it's not that we don't have the feeling. It's that instead of me giving into my anger and my righteousness, instead of me lashing out at the next person who comes along because the thing didn't go my way, I take a breath and say, why am I angry? I'm angry because it's unjust. I'm angry because it's unfair. I get that I'm angry because of all these things, but why? Why anger? Why this? Well, because since it's not going my way and since it's unfair, I'm feeling this anger towards it not going my way, towards it not going according to my plan. I'm feeling angry because I'm afraid this is out of my control. When you can get to the thing under the thing, observe the emotion, then it doesn't have to control your reaction anymore. You can step back and go, you know what, I am angry, and I'm still pretty pissed about that. But the decision to make right now is what's the next best step, not what's going to make me feel good about feeding my anger. Because when we're angry, it feels good to yell. It feels good to swear. It feels good to feel like we can push people around and lash out. It feels good. That's what anger does. if we can acknowledge the anger and step back and go, that's not my best action right now, that doesn't get me to the next best step for the situation, we're practicing detachment. Like I said, it's not that you don't feel it, it's that we don't let it own us. That is the art of detachment. Also, third piece, so what did we say? Practice something different, detachment from the emotions so we don't let them control us. 3, trust. Trust you're going to get through it. You have gotten through everything so far today. And I know, Joyce, you're right. Swearing is a good way to release stress. And I do like to swear. I don't hide that. Facebook doesn't like it, so I try not to do it very much on these lives. But it can be a release. But look at it this way. You can control the time and place for venting your anger in a way that is healthy and good for you and not negatively impacting either you or everyone around you or the situation at large. Right? Detachment is not about not feeling. It's not about not expressing. It is about managing in the best possible way. It doesn't mean that I don't go hit my punching bag a few times or beat a pillow or go do a primordial scream in another room at some point. It does mean I don't do it in your face right now, because that doesn't help anybody. So point 3, though, for how do we practice, what are the skills we practice so that we've strengthened our muscles for the future of plot twists and moving forward with power moves, is trust. And trust does come from your resilience training. It does come from knowing you have gotten through every day of your life, including today, and we are still here, and we will get through today as well. It comes from knowing that this too shall pass. It comes from knowing that when you have confidence and competence in who you are and what you do, you have the resilience to get back up. And this little triangle I'm talking about is what the training was about 2 weeks ago that I will record for you. If you are sure you want a copy of that training that I will record in the next few days, if you're sure you want a copy of that training, I want you to drop the word tough in the comments. Being resilient and being tough. And I will make sure that I record it, that I save it, and that you guys have access to that, the resilience training. Tapping into your resilience muscle, though, is the third part of this. Just knowing and acknowledging, I trust myself that I'm going to get through whatever plot twist life throws at me. If you remember nothing else tonight, I want you to remember that you have that. You have the power to thrive through any plot twist that life throws at you. And it is all centered in your energy and your attitude. If you hold yourself accountable for the energy and the attitude that you bring forward with every plot twist, you then make the difference between seeing your life as drama and trauma or as excitement and adventure. But that's in you. The ultimate power move is that you own the experience. You own your role in that experience. All right, so that is our Tuesday training for tonight. So remember that when you're in the moment, accept life is unpredictable. Just accept the unpredictable is happening. Own your attitude and your energy. Hold yourself accountable for how you're going to show up, and take a breath so that you can show up in the best, most grounded way possible. That's in the moment. Working up to those moments, knowing that they're going to happen, practice doing things differently. Make it a game. Little thing. You'd be surprised at how much just practicing the little things every day, doing them differently, makes a difference. Practice the art of detachment. Feel your emotions, acknowledge your emotions. They are valid, they are real, but take that step back to observe, where are they coming from? What is this really about? So that they don't control the situation, but you do. And 3, trust yourself. Trust that you have the knowledge, the experience, and the intuition to get through this. And if you take that breath, you will figure it out. All right. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for showing up. I'm glad that the video seems to have made it. I'm going to shut this down, and hopefully it will save, and we will have it in the archive for everybody too. In the meantime, if you are looking for a little help detaching from your emotions or shifting your mindset, getting out of that victimhood brain that says, oh, why me? This always happens to me. Then let's chat. As always, just drop the word chat in the comments. I will reach out to you. We will schedule a free coaching call to work you through the mindset moment, detaching from the emotions, anything that you want to talk about as we get through the holidays and we get through the plot twists that are going to be thrown at us from our relatives and our friends and work, because none of this stuff stops, right, as we go through the holidays. Just drop the word chat and we will do a coaching call. Drop the word tough. I will get you that resilience training that didn't get saved somehow. In the meantime, I hope every one of you has a fabulous long weekend, that you get to enjoy it with your friends, family, loved ones, yourself, your dog, whomever you are spending Thanksgiving with. Enjoy it. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the food if you're cooking. And I will see you next Tuesday.